Hello YouTube and welcome back to Fire Gaming Project. So in today's video, I'm actually going to talk about something that came up a lot in my recent video. I recently did a video where I did the pre-analysis, pre-release analysis for the Wavebreaker's Fin and the Mountain's Moon limited edition 4-star weapons that are currently in the current weapon banner here, as you'll see on the screen here. So these two, right? And we know that they're from the same series from the Akuo Maru Claymore, right? Which was the previous banner. And so these are limited and they're only going to be available on these limited special banners. They will not be included on the standard banners moving forward. So thank you guys so much for all your questions and comments on that video. But this one is specifically about Wavebreaker's Fin versus the Catch and the Blackcliff Polearm. And the reason why these three are grouped together here is because, well, the Wavebreaker's Fin and the Catch have similar attributes, let's say. And then the Blackcliff one is just one that came up a lot recently as well, especially because it is in the Paimon shop this month. Again, I did a Paimon reset video recently as well for November, so do check that out too. But basically, I've always said in previous videos too, and my recommendations is always to go and get the Blackcliff weapons. So let's just get into it. Let's just talk about the pole arms in general, so for all the pole arm users, okay? So I'm going to quickly just filter it here, but while I'm doing that, please make sure that you guys are subscribed and hit the notification bell and leave a like and also ask me some questions and feel free to leave me some comments as well. Yeah, so okay, we're going to filter. Okay, and then I'm going to press this. Yes, okay. So right now, there's a few characters that don't have pole arms that are just currently in my party, so ignore that, okay? So for the pole arm users, I will keep this as short as possible, so if you want more details about it, which I did go into a lot of depth, do look at that pre-release analysis video for the Wavebreaker's Fin and the Mountain's Moon. I also did another separate one that was just for Wavebreaker's Fin for Toma specifically, and that is a separate video, but that's okay. You can also check that out too. But this one is specifically for the Wavebreaker's Fin versus the Catch versus the Blackcliff Polearm for each of the characters, okay, that have polearms. So then I will just say this. Just as a very universal thing, all three of those weapons, Wavebreaker's Fin, here they are. Where are they? I don't have the Wavebreaker's Fin, sorry. Let me just make that clear. I don't have that or the Mountain's Moon, but I have the Catch, which many of you guys do have as well, and I have the Blackcliff Pole as well. So all three of them are very universal, and they will be very versatile and can be placeholder weapons for majority of the polearm users, okay? So there's no question about it, they're all three very good, okay, until you get a better weapon. Now, if we talk about specifics though, okay, so the Wavebreaker's Fin, basically, long story short, its main passive is to buff your burst. And as we've seen with the Akuo Maru Claymore, that series, it is going to be comparable at R1 to an R1 5-star weapon in many ways. Like in some cases, it'll be lesser damage, but close to, and in some cases, it may even be surpassing an R1 5-star weapon's damage, okay? Depending on the scenario and obviously other factors, such as if you're buffing and also the substats that you have, etc., 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 right? But let's just say it's comparable. If we just say at an average, all the Akuo Maru, which was the Claymore, the Wavebreaker's Fin, and the Mountain's Moon are going to be comparable to 5-star R1 levels, R1 weapons at that same level. Okay, with that being said though, because the Wavebreaker's Fin is a passive for the buffing the burst of the characters, it will not buff the normal charged and plunged attack for those polearm users, and it will not buff their elemental skill as well, okay? Now, similarly, the Catch, as you can see on the screen, the buff is also for the elemental burst. It also gives a slight crit rate boost as well for the elemental burst portion. So that is good. The only difference here, though, of course, is the Wavebreaker's Fin has an attack substat, and as you can see, the Catch on the screen, it has an energy recharge substat. So the Wavebreaker's Fin, in general, will be better for most polearm users that you can either have already dealt with their energy issues, okay? So I've already said this in the other video as well, but basically for Raiden Shogun, Xiao, and Shangling, they have energy issues. They need lots of energy. So if you can get if you're willing to put an energy recharge main stat artifact on them, or if you're able to get lots of good energy recharge substats, or if you're going to do the Emblem of Severed Fate, at least the 2-piece set, but definitely its 4-piece set is the best for Raiden Shogun, and actually it will work well on Shangling as well, which I also have her on. Then that's okay too, because then your energy is dealt with. But it's always, for these characters though, they are better off with even more energy. So especially with the emblem set. So then that's why as you can see on the screen, they are using, of course, she's using her signature weapon, of course, but they are using the energy weapon as well. Right. But if you don't have those, then yes, the Wavebreaker spin will be fine as long as you have dealt with the energy issue. Okay, I'm going to talk about Xiao separately, only because this came up really recently, literally the last 2 nights. So that one's going to be a special situation. I will actually pop out of this menu and go into his talent, his alt and burst, and look at that separately. Now, okay. That being said, let's go to quickly talk about the other 3 characters that are left. So there's Hu Tao currently on the current weapon banner, and obviously her best in slot is the Staff of Homa, and she needs crit damage. And Zhongli also, this is also, in my opinion, his best in slot. And Rosaria is more like a fizz damage, but she can do well with like the Crescent Pike, which I have her on, or she can do well with the Wavebreaker's Fin as well, okay? So I'll just say this in a very simplistic way. The Wavebreaker's Fin will be awesome on these 3 characters, okay? Okay, the catch will also be awesome on these 3 characters. However, these 3 characters do not have energy issues, so there's no need to give them extra energy from giving them the catch, unless you want to specifically buff their burst, which is okay, okay? And then in that case, then you might as well, if you have the Wavebreaker's Fin, you might as well give them the Fin instead, because then the Fin will not have will have an attack substat versus an energy recharge substat, so then the Fin will be better in that case for those 3, Zhongli, Hu Tao, and Rosaria, over the catch, okay? But again, for Shangling and for Raiden Shogun, their actual energy recharge weapons will be better, okay? Now, the Blackcliff weapons, let's just quickly bring that in because this came up more recently. So the Blackcliff weapons are universal, and I've always stood by these. I had this specific one, this R5 one, on my Xiao for the longest time until I got this Jade Spear on the losing the 50/50 on a later banner. So then that's when I swapped it out only. So this will do well, and this also was temporarily on my Rosaria as well at one point. So I'm just saying, these are all good weapons. And we won't talk about the other weapons, such as like the Skyward Spine or like the Crescent Pike, etc. We're not going to talk about that. That is slightly covered on my other video, so do check that out. But regardless, the Blackcliff, again, is a good placeholder weapon. Don't feel bad about leveling this up and getting into R5 if you ever do, because it'll be a great weapon even for future polearm users. The only issue is that the passive is not guaranteed to get the maximum 3 stacks of the 72% buff, but it is universal, and it makes building your character much easier because a crit damage subset is really awesome, and you would only have to focus on crit rate at that point, and 55% is pretty close to even the 5-star. Look, Seven Home is only 66, so it's really just a little bit off. Of course, the base damage is going to be 100 off, a base attack, but it's not that big of a deal. So there's that. Now we get to Xiao, okay? So Xiao is like obviously a very popular character, and he's OP, of course. Now, here's the issue with Xiao. I previously was telling people that, yes, the Wavebreaker's Fin would also be good on Xiao, and technically, the catch would also be good on Xiao. Okay, but now I have to kind of take that back a little bit, because now it has been brought to my attention that for Xiao, actually, unfortunately, it may not be true that the Wavebreaker's Fin and the catch could be good for him. And before I go to his actual like alt description, let's just say that the Blackcliff Pole, definitely I stand by it then. The Blackcliff Pole will still be good for him if you don't have, of course, his ear, or even the Staff of Homa, which is on the current banner. Those would be good for him too, of course, right? He could do well with the Skyward Spine too, but he's not, he does need energy, so he could do well with this too, but you would want to put more attack on him. So that's a separate story. But yeah, so let's now go to Xiao, specifically, for his alt. The reason why this came up was because, thank you to my viewer, his name is, well, I don't know if I should disclose, but anyway, one of my viewers is there, and he did comment, and he did say that, if you read the description here, this basically is saying that his alt, when he wears his Yaksha mask, it only allows him to basically infuse his normal plunge and charge attacks, converts all his attacks basically, into Animo damage. and it obviously allows him to jump more and increases his AoE and his attack damage overall. And of course, it drains his HP. Okay, so that's basically all that it does. It does not really give you the impression, it doesn't say specifically here, of course, but it does not give the impression, and we all know what his ult is like, okay? It does not give the impression that it's considered its own separate elemental burst damage of its own class, okay? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this sounds more like it's just really infusing his, like, again, all his other attacks into Animal and just increasing the attack percentage of it, basically, and the AoE. It does not say as if it was like these other characters where their bursts are independent things, like, you know, like Zhongli throws down the meteorite, you know, Raiden Shogun, like, just goes crazy and blitzes them all with, like, lightning strikes, right, you know? Hu Tao, throws out her ghost, right? Sorry, I was on the wrong. Yeah, Hu Tao throws out her ghost. Shangling throws out her pyronado, right? And Rosaria throws out like her lance, right? You know, like they throw out something that's deployed. Technically, it's on the field, or comes onto the field and destroys, or you know, and specifically with Raiden Shogun, you may be thinking, well, hers is just lightning, right? But no, it actually says in her specific description, if you look at it, it actually says it is considered elemental burst damage. So it's very specific in the language and the very last line there. So that's why Xiao is a very special situation. His doesn't say anything like that. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not possible that it could be elemental burst damage, but I don't know. I'll be very honest, I'm not completely sure. I don't use this character that much, so maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. However, I'm believing at the time of publishing this, and after researching it a little bit more, I believe that, and I agree with my viewer as well then, I believe that in this case, his ult may not benefit from the Wavebreaker's fin and the catches passive bonus. That's why now I would not recommend neither of them, at least until we figure out more. Neither of those should be recommended to Xiao. And so for Xiao specifically, he obviously Primordial Jade is his best, but also Homo would be good for him. Spine would be good for him. Blackcliff is good for him. And also, yeah, let's just leave it at that, okay? I don't know if you really care for him to have a physical damage presence, and any of the other ones may not apply unless you have a Lithic Spear at high level and you have lots of Lier characters at high refined level, I mean, or have a lot of Lier characters in the team with him. So I'll leave it at that. So I just want to quickly throw that out there because a lot of questions and comments, very good questions and comments, and I loved interacting with all of you guys. Thank you guys so much. I just want to put that out there. So that's my summary of the situation between the Wavebreaker's fin, the catch, and the Blackcliff Pole. Please leave your questions and comments in the comment section if you have anything, or if you guys know more about Xiao specifically, because that was actually a big point of this. That's why I want to make its own video for this, because that was a big point that came up the last 2 days, literally. So I did originally recommend to those people that, oh, it should be fine with the fin, but then on further look and analysis of the way that his talent description for the ult and burst damage is listed, it does not give me the impression that it is anything more than just infusion and a boost on its own, versus if it would be considered an elemental burst damage boost if you can buff it with further other weapons such as the fin and the catch. Okay, so let's just leave it at that, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative. I will do a separate video now after this to talk about the Mo'un's Moon and compare it to its related weapons as well. So stay tuned for that, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.